Right, as usual, I'm a little uncertain about when I'm actually going live. Is it when I click the Start Streaming button on my software? Or is it when YouTube gets the signal and I see the stream start on the control panel? I have clicked Start Streaming in OBS, but YouTube does not yet show that the stream is live. I'll have to remember to review the beginning of this video to see when things actually start to pick up. Let's see. Oh, okay. Oh, well, I was looking in the wrong place in the control panel. All right, well, still learning. Looks like I have been streaming for a full minute, and if you're watching this video in the future, you will be bored for that time, I suppose. All right, well, it's my turn in this game. The plan right now is that I will look over... I should go ahead and do that now. All right, I'm going to make a real-time challenge. And last week, they actually showed up, which I was pleased about. Okay, see what happens this week. In the meantime, I'll look over the games that I've got going on now. This game is just starting. This is a player I played last week. We had an instructive game. They've just started learning. Let's see, so they've picked a yellow ship. And a fortress setup. What do I feel like? I don't think I'll make it a small universe or anything silly. Go for something not too strange. My habit lately has been to pick a large star in whichever out of red and yellow that I'm going for. I think I, more than most new players, am able to manage a game where there are few or I have no large ships in those colors. I'm happy to have large ships of other colors and sacrifice for the movement and capture that I need. So I don't mind taking a large out of the bank for that. We'll see how that game goes. Or I will. We may not get back to that in a video. Alright, so I think what I'll do right now is open up all these games. We'll take a quick look. Some of these are similar to where they were last time in the last video, since some of these games are moving rather slowly. So this is a game I'm more worried about than some. My opponent started to make a move and then restarted and didn't finish. My opponent also has two large ships. But they haven't got both of their large ships are back at home. They're not active. They're not defending a colony, nor are they attacking mine. I may have, if they don't do something about it, if they don't reinforce Alti with one of these large ships, I could move my large yellow there and make a nuisance of myself. In fact, I probably will. They would not want to reinforce Alti with their large red, since that would put 3 reds here, and I would happily catastrophe with moving a 4th red there. I think they're better off moving their large green, but they may not think to move their large green there, since I think that large green, in fact I'm certain that large green was their original large ship. And so they may have in mind that that's just got to stay in their home. But once you've built another large ship, it's okay to move your large out of your home as long as you leave some large there. And while they would have 2 greens in Alti, I've only got 1 green ship anywhere. And so I would not be catastropheing the large green in Alti anytime soon. Okay, well, so that's the situation there. John Cooper just came online. Might be making a move in his game with Andy. Let's take a look at that, shall we? As long as we're thinking of it and waiting. So John and Andy have been playing with my tool lately, which I'm pretty proud of, that the inventor of the pieces and the inventor of the game like to use my implementation to play. Okay, well, it looks like Andy made a move last night, but John hasn't moved. Maybe that's what he's online to do now. Things look pretty even. I think I actually favored John's position so far. John has an extra ship. Is this a longer game? No, this game is just getting started. I thought maybe they had got sent back to the Stone Age by a catastrophe. John's got more ships. And importantly, he's got more ships and is more spread out in yellow. And so he will have an advantage going forward with eating up the rest of these yellow ships and getting larger ships than Andy. So my money's on John so far. I want to check back and see if John makes a move here. Turn the sound on too. Oh, my computer sound muted, I wonder? Yes, my computer sound is muted. Okay, I think you will have heard that just now. Don't suppose we've got any viewers. We've got a viewer. Hello, whoever you are. Yeah, so I like John's position here. Andy wins a little more often than John, from what I can tell, so usually root for John. Nothing against Andy, of course. All right, let's see my game with Orphan Soup. I've got Orphan Soup locked out of red. That's pretty harsh. Yeah, I don't think we need to spend much time looking at this one. That is unfortunate. All right, let's see. Ooh, this one's a little scarier. What's my plan here? Okay, so Bear is about to build a large red in his home, I'm sure. He might even... yeah, he might. It would not be totally unreasonable for him to sacrifice his large green for a factory build, rebuild his large green, and then build a large red in his home and a large red here in Alti. Just to catastrophe those 3 reds, I'd have to sacrifice my medium yellow. I'd be giving up my medium red. He'd be fairly happy with that, I think. Why am I okay with this situation? I am okay with this because on my turn, I will also get to build a large red, and in order to catastrophe my large red, he would have to sacrifice his large yellow. He'd still come up some material out of that, though. I'd be losing 2 mediums, and he'd only be losing, in addition to the large ship, a yellow for him and a red for me, he would only be losing a small, and I'd be losing 2 mediums. This game is not going great. Bear was just saying that he's needs to take some time between moves. He wants some time to think, which is all right, but it just means I'm going to be losing slowly, which My favorite thing to do. All right, let's see what else we've got going on here. So here I've got a note to myself, cat his greens if he doesn't respond. Yeah, so I wanted to make sure I didn't miss the opportunity that if he doesn't split up his greens or trade one away, I can sacrifice a large yellow to move a little green all the way across the galaxy and catastrophe his greens, so he'd lose both of his larges. I'd only lose one large and one small. He would have no large at all, and so I should be able to march into his home with, say, my large blue. Except there's actually kind of a problem there where we're low on small stars. The fortress principle is coming into effect. Most of the ships, most of the pieces that are small have been used up as ships. And so there aren't as many of them to make as stars and get into his home. But there's a blue one, and he's got a yellow star, a small green star already out here. So I can move my large blue to this star, and then won't have a yellow, but I can sacrifice to get to him. And then start capturing everything. If, of course, this is all built on he doesn't think to split up his greens. I might actually warn him, since meaningful candy is fairly new. He's a Santorini expert, I was noticing. So I hope you don't mind if I occasionally type in advice. I want very much to build the Homeworlds community, and part of that is being friendly and giving people nice advice. I think, fairly... I may not be friendly by nature, but I think I'm nice by nature, and I want to be helpful. And doubly so when I'm trying to build the community here, so I think I will actually warn him here. While I do like to win, I don't like the cause of my winning to be that somebody goofed. Alright, so assuming he splits up his greens, then there's this lovely large yellow available that he would like to build, and he's in a better position to build it. I think I need to... Let's see, how close am I to an invasion? Pretty close. I could just let him build it, or I could try to block the build by trading, or, oh, better yet, moving. Better yet, moving. I think we could move... It's too bad it's yellow. So if I catastrophe his large blue star, then anything that I put on a yellow star... Oh, somebody made a move somewhere. Oh, John made a move. Let's see, what did John do? He traded Y3 for G3 in his home. Yeah, I think that's a good move. Make sure he doesn't get left behind in the greens. And he'll be better able to do a shopping spree. In fact, if Andy does something kind of neutral, like build a small green, then John could do a shopping spree right now, sacrifice his large green to build, say, medium in his home, medium at Earth, and a large in his home. Of course, that leaves larges available for Andy to build. So he wouldn't actually want to do it just yet, but we're at the point in the yellows where a shopping spree makes large ships available, so it's reasonable to sacrifice your large green to get there. Okay. Well, that was nice to have the sound on so that I got alerted when that happened. Let's see. What was I saying? I was saying that if Meaningful Candy, for example, moves his large green to Alti to defend it, which would be a pretty good move. keeps me from moving in with one of my larges and threatening his little yellow, medium yellow. Then I think what I'd want to do is move one of my yellows to discover the large yellow star to prevent him from building a large yellow. What I was contemplating is anything I move to this large yellow will be adjacent to his home if I catastrophe his large blue star. And so what I would want, the color I would want to have on that large yellow then is yellow, to have it available to catastrophe his other star. So a yellow ship at a yellow star is a little more vulnerable to catastrophe. So on the one hand, I'd like it to be my large ship, but since it will be more vulnerable to catastrophe, I might want it to be my small. But then if it's the small, he might chase it away and might get an investment opportunity out of it. Plus, I'll want my large yellow for a gradual doomsday machine. You want a large ship that matches the star color for that. Okay, well, so I will probably... I think his best move is to move his large green here. And my best move is probably to move my... I'll say my large yellow to discover this this large yellow star. Make sure that he doesn't get too much yellow power. Keep up my large monopoly here, my yellow monopoly. Okay, that's the situation there. All right, I've got another game going with Meaningful Candy. Youch! Oh my glory. That's wild. Okay. So I've got a note. His home is Gemini. Just make sure I don't forget that the small universe. All right, well, I apparently did not successfully block his shopping spree on his last turn. He got 2 larges. Oh my gosh. What a mess. But his mobility is also very limited. I am not completely shut out of red, but he has no access to yellow. So he's got yellow in his home star, he's got yellow at this star, but he can't get a yellow ship. If he were to get a yellow ship in his home, actually, wouldn't be crazy. Completely crazy. If he were to trade his large red for large yellow, then I would probably blow up his star by sacrificing medium yellow to move 2 of these guys in. He's got so much more material than me. He might not mind losing a star in order to refresh the bank with yellows to take away my gigantic yellow advantage. That would be really wild, but not completely crazy. I think what he's better off doing, though, is trading probably one of the small reds. Now, why did I not catastrophe him on my last turn? Oh, because I did not have any. I had on my previous turn. So what did I do? I did a shopping spree as well. So I shopping spreed first. No, I shopping spreed second. So I sacrificed a large green to build medium, medium, large yellow. To build these 2 mediums and this large. So on my previous turn, I had this red that I would have loved to have moved into his home for the game-winning catastrophe, but I didn't have a medium yellow to get it there. Now I've got the medium yellows, so he is in check right now. He's got to trade or move one of these reds to keep me from sacrificing a yellow and moving another red to his home. I think trading his I'm gonna say his large red for a large green is probably his best move, because that puts a red back in the bank, which he is better prepared to build than I am. even though he's very crowded in red. You might get to build it first. Not quite sure what I would do in that case. I might discover the red star, or I might spread out my yellows to prepare to build the large yellow. That's probably what I ought to do, is double down on my yellow advantage. Yeah. Okay, well, oh boy, this is an exciting game. Um, can't wait to see where this goes. Let's see, in our conversation, he was concerned that his shopping spree lost him the game. Uh, he says, I lost the game on the last move, didn't I? Not necessarily. You've got such a material advantage that I wouldn't count you out even though you may have trouble getting yellow away from me. He says, so the two obvious moves would be... Oh, when did he say this? This was... I don't remember reading this message from him before. It's been a long time since he moved. So the two obvious moves would be trade red 3 for yellow 3 in my homeworld. Now that's what I was talking about. To at least give me some yellow. You could catastrophe my yellow then, but that would enhance my material advantage as far as I can see. No, not actually. He'd be losing a large ship for medium, small. I think that actually cuts down his material advantage. Alternative would be to move red 3 in Bleb to Babamots. He could invade. No, he's not going to want to do that. I have to think about the yellow situation afterwards, though, unsure which I prefer. Oh, I should probably give him some advice here. So he's considering slow pushing reds at me, which seldom works. If he moves his red 3 into my home, I will not just capture it, I will sacrifice my medium red in order to capture it, to cut down the red concentration. And so he will have lost a large, and I will have only lost a medium, and I will have gained his large. So you can't slow push reds at people. Oops, oh gosh, this was 5 days ago. I didn't notice this message, and I should have given him advice on this. Okay, well, if my viewer is still here, they may be bored while I type a helpful message here. First, I'll advise him on the, I think, trading R3 for Y3 at home. I'll start off with saying I don't think either of those is good. Okay, see, I am not a good speller. Whittles, okay, with T's. I think that whittles down. And the one that I think that's not a totally crazy move. Uh, it's his other one. Okay, so moving R3 to my home. Yeah, if he... Yeah, in fact, I'll be ahead in material, I'd say. If he moves this here, I sacrifice my medium red to gain his large red. He's got two larges, two mediums, two smalls. I'll have two larges, two mediums, three smalls. Yeah, so I will actually be ahead. And I'll have better color diversity, and I'll have more yellow, and more yellow is a really big deal to me. Nobody's joined my game. These messages are just the ones I've been sending. Kind of funny how in other windows on Board Game Arena, it will bring up your own messages because there's chat going on. Oops. Oh, another one just came up. Oh, okay, we've got a game. All right. 80 HG. 80 Mercury. All right, well, let's go with a, what's here? Take a peek at their profile while thinking. Boy, 3,100 games. Flux player. I love cats. They played Slurm. Slurm beat them recently at Homeworlds. They played Abacus Wizard and lost. I don't know that person. Okay. Okay. Go for the blues, since there's a small blue star and the blues will run out first. Okay. Try to give people fair warning that I have played this game a stinking lot. And although I do lose to beginners occasionally, not usually. Aha, he says fair enough. Andy Looney and Keith Baker in their podcast say fair enough a lot, so it always makes me smile. Okay, well, I don't really want to trade away my only ship of any one color, so I think I will put another blue before I worry about red. Like to move out. Threatening to get mediums before he could do something really annoying, like move his little red to a small yellow system, so that he could capture my little blue unless I get a red right away. Okay, that's all right. Well, he could still do it by sacrificing his little yellow, but then I wouldn't feel like that was such a problem. Okay, that's pretty good. If my one viewer would like to say anything about whether the game sounds are too loud, I wouldn't mind that. Oh, they did. They said they did say hi. I just turned the game sound down a little bit. Hopefully that's a good thing. All right, you know, while I do want to make sure I get into red before he completely runs away with them, I'm more interested in getting a lot of material so far. That's a principle that I abide by most of the time, but that hasn't actually made it into my my strategy guide. In the early game, it's often more important that you focus on getting the largest ships you can, rather than worrying too much about what particular color they are. You can always trade them for a different color later. I'm getting mediums like crazy here. You can start getting mediums now too. Yeah. But to get a blue, he'll have to trade out that medium yellow and... Yeah, okay, well he did. But he won't be able to build another one there. That's something. Make sure I break up these mediums. See. I want to move out the medium one or the small one. Move out the small one. The medium one. That is a good move. Okay, but he does not have a medium yellow or better to bother me. If I do this, I'm going to build and build. He can't build one of those large reds right now because that would make 4. So this feels pretty good. Not a green, but that can change. Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, I think I'm ready to annoy his colony. It's not very nice since he's a beginner, but in a real-time game, playing with a short timer like this, short being just a mere 4 minutes, I barely do anything in 4 minutes. I can barely get my brain in gear in that time. So I have to be a little ruthless. I'm gonna take his reds. To be careful, because if he gets a medium yellow at any point, I need to watch out both for catastrophes back home. Ooh, that's not a good move. So I could catastrophe his star and his red right now if I wanted. Or I can just take his medium blue. If I take his medium blue, he can capture me. Yeah, I'm gonna do this. It's harsh, but it's a cruel world. Okay, and that does not bring his medium blue any closer to my home. So I'm still safe with 3 blues there. I want to say something about if the timers were longer, then I could afford to play a little easier. But I feel like that might be insulting. Okay, I need to no longer have that many blues in my home because he could get a ship there. Our homes are not connected. I'm going to trade. Ooh, no, I'm not going to trade. I would love to trade for green. Oh, sure I can trade for green because the only place he can build that large blue is in this system where I can just capture it. Okay, that's all right then. Yeah, that looks okay. Moving 2 ships. It's like overkill. Well, he still doesn't have any red. So while I could capture those 2 ships, I think I would rather end it quickly. Okay. Okay, well, to finish this off, I mean, I've got a million ways to go about this. Go just everything. In a hopefully they didn't feel too bad about getting squashed. Okay, well let's put out the line one more time while I finish talking about these other games. If somebody shows up. Okay, so I think we've talked enough about this one. All right, this one's just getting started. Nothing much to say here, I don't think. I've noticed that new players more than old-timey players will take ships other than green. They'll have a green star, although there's a warning in the game if you try to have a homeworld that doesn't have blue and green in it. So, happily, I don't think I've seen anybody choose a homeworld that didn't have both blue and green as a result of being a new player. Warning is useful. Okay, what else have we got here? This game's just getting underway. Trying to run away with the reds here. My opponent doesn't have mediums in sight yet for any color, and I've got medium reds rolling in, so this one's looking pretty good for me so far. This one's just getting started. Nothing too noteworthy just yet. Neither of us has a large blue star, so the blues will run out pretty quickly. I want to make doubly sure that I don't get left too far behind in blue. And over here, Andy hasn't showed up today. Okay, so there's the situation. In my games, while we're waiting for somebody to maybe show up there, I can show you over on the developer side. I made a change to the game last night, and I introduced, I wouldn't call it a bug exactly, but it's not ideal, I think. So I've just gone over to the BGA Studio, where you can have a sandbox game with yourself, or rather, I can because I'm the developer of the game. Actually, other developers might be able to as well. So the something like, but not necessarily a bug that I added, is that watch what happens when pieces go back to the bank when I restart my turn. If you look close, the stacks of pieces move up, and then the pieces fly in underneath. So at the moment, what happens is I'm dealing from the bottom of the stack, which you can't see when you are pulling pieces out because the other pieces shift down instantly. But when you put them back, what happens is the interface makes room for that piece to go back into the stack first, and then it flies back. So I restart, pieces move up, and then the guy moves in. I'd say that's a terrible idea. So if you watch these greens, they're all going to move up, and the bottom guy moves in. So that looks a little silly, so I would like to change that, but there are, oh glory, there are a number of reasons why dealing from the bottom makes sense, that there are so many funny little issues going on here. I want the pieces Well, I guess the order the pieces come in doesn't actually matter at the moment. But I want the pieces to appear to be in front when they're at the top of the stack, so that they look like they're nested one on top of the other. And I want it to be that when a piece is removed from the stack, it immediately looks like it's in front of any other pieces that are there, because if a piece comes out of the stack and then looks like it's under the stack, it's sliding around under the other pieces. That looks very strange. And I want to consistently pull. I want to have a consistent way to pick pieces out of the stack based on the piece ID number, because otherwise tutorials can get messed up. Those things together with the fact that, well, no, I think I can fix this, but somehow or other it worked out that dealing from the bottom was easiest, but I'm going to have to change that because this looks too weird. Restart, they all move up a little, and then it goes underneath. One of the next things I want to do when I have that bug fixed and any other interface glitches I happen to come across in the meantime is I want to make a tutorial. I have made a tutorial, but it's got a problem. Sorry, turn the sound off here. So I made a new account called Evil Aliens, so that you would actually be playing your tutorial against evil aliens. I thought that would be fun. And we can make these hands come out and say, okay, you need to click 1, 2, 3. So interestingly, one of the things that I worked hard at was to make it so that as much as possible, things are handled on the client side, so that you're not constantly sending things to the server, which takes a little extra time. So this interface feels, if you've played other games on Board Game Arena, the interface for Homeworlds feels a little faster and slicker than it does for most games, because I'm doing more things on the client side. But one of the side effects of that is that when you make a tutorial, you can only give instructions at breaks between server commands, not between client-side commands. And so sometimes I have to give several instructions at once, and so it'll say click 1, 2, 3 like this. And another funny thing that happens is that when you put one of these tutorial markers on one of the hostile ships, which is just a regular ship but flipped around, it doesn't just flip around the ship, it also flips around the marker. So when I tell somebody how to capture a ship, I say, okay, click 1, 2, 3, but that hand with the 3 on it was upside down. So that is something that I have changed in the latest update, which is why, so if that problem didn't exist, then this would probably be an official tutorial right now, this one we're looking at, because that's the biggest problem that it has. But my intention is to replay this exact same game, again with the Evil Aliens account, but with the new version of the code. And so another unfortunate thing is that you have to make tutorials with the current version of the code, and whatever version you make the tutorial with, it's going to use that version of the code forever. So I just made that one little style change to the upside down pointers. But well, and a few other little changes. But it is stuck that way forever in this version of the tutorial, and I'll have to replay the whole game in order to fix that, and I'll have to copy all of these comments, all of these instructions over to the new tutorial. I had thought about stepping you through the tutorial creation process. Oh, okay. My viewer actually said something. They said, this is a classic situation, red stuck on green star. Unfortunately, I don't have the chat up in front of me during the, while I'm sitting here. I don't have two screens. I don't have two monitors. I wish I did. So I have to hop over to other software to see what's going on. Sorry I didn't respond. But yeah, red stuck on a green star. Somewhere in... that's probably in my game with meaningful candy. Let's take a look at that one. Is it this one? No, it's the other one. So there are other places where this is... Other games I'm in where this is probably the case, but he's got these red ships stuck at a green star. I call this a Gilligan situation. You've got ships that can they can build stuff, but they can never get away. So these red ships, if there were red pieces available in the bank, they could build more red pieces, but they can't trade for other colors, and they can't move away because they don't have blue or yellow. Red at green seems to happen pretty often, especially if there's a little fight for red pieces at the beginning of a game. Somebody will discover a green star with one of their red ships so that they can build more, and that, I mean, it's not a bad thing necessarily, but you if those ships are ever going to go anywhere, you have to move a blue or a yellow there, or sacrifice. You can always sacrifice a yellow or a blue to move or trade. And of course, these ships are very useful for the threat of sacrifice. If those were my opponent's only red ships, I would have to be just as concerned about the fact that he had red ships somewhere as I would at any other time, because he can sacrifice them for capture actions anyplace. Okay, well, nobody's taken me up on my open table here, and I had thought about actually trying to make a tutorial before your very eyes, but having just realized this funny business with pieces flying to the bottom of the stack this morning, I don't want that to be in the tutorial. I'd like to have that fixed first. So that'll take some coding, and you probably don't want to actually watch me writing code. So I think, unless somebody shows up here in the next couple of seconds, I will end the stream. Thank you for watching, my one viewer, and there will probably be a few people who watch this in the future, especially if I start making videos and streams really regularly. People may come back and watch this in the future. I guess that's all I've got to say.